everybody. Hi, shareholder partners. Wow, what a day. It's been a grind from 7 o'clock this morning, but amazing meetings as we drive the business, and I apologize for being a few minutes late. Today is a really important meeting. I'm really excited to share with you the fantastic progress that the team continues to make as we continue to break biological barriers and execute maniacally on our growth plan. So this is actually the eighth presentation of our growth plan. I'm going to just get you to read the forward-looking statements. You guys can all read faster than I can speak. And it gives me a chance to take a breath. I think you can see some of my sweating coming through my shirt. You can realize your CEO is human. All right, now I'm going to look forward to this being interactive, the emojis I can see, and so help me along the journey because it's pretty lonely presenting to a screen by yourself. Thank you. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. Okay, today's journey. I'm going to give you a breakdown, 2022 performance update in a little bit more detail. Then I'm going to share with you how we get sharper and sharper on our strategy evolution and how we drive, our strategy sharper and sharper as we learn more and more about the operating environment and specifically our customers and how our customers are interacting with our products. I'm going to do a cannabis update as well. There's been a lot of questions in that space, and I'm sure we'll take more questions in the Q&A period. And then, as always, we start the year with 2022 priorities and big bets. And these really are my KPIs that you all can hold me as your CEO accountable for as far as what I need to deliver in the business today collectively as a team. And these priorities and KPIs get cascaded down to all the members of our 45 members of our work teams of employees across the company. And then we'll talk a little bit about the current financing, and we'll go into Q&A. I think, Justin, I'm going to aim to at least have 15 minutes of Q&A because I know we've had a lot of questions come through from a Q&A perspective. Okay? All right, so let's start the journey. Everybody's ready to rock and roll? Go easy on the emojis. Okay, all right. So let's talk about Q1 results, and let me break this down and give you a little bit of commentary on Q1 results. It was a good quarter, a really, really good quarter. We doubled the size of the business, more than doubled the size of the business versus Q1 2021. It's huge because you're building capabilities, you're building supply chain, and we're building that marketing muscle that's so important. So we were really happy with the first quarter results. Again, I want to reiterate the confidence that we have in the guidance that we gave of $5 to $7 million of revenue. And we remain confident as we've done a great job in first quarter. I expect second quarter to look similar to first quarter. And then literally starting in third quarter, we will put our foot on the pedal and start to drive really, really hard. Obviously, specifically in the US business, as our supply chain comes on stream and we can really open the floodgates to be able to provide VINIA to whoever wants VINIA, because right now we've really been constraining demand because we don't want to be in a position that we bring on subscribers and we're not able to supply them. So again, 5 to 7 million is really what we're focused on, and we're still feeling really good on this. If we look at our US market, we grew 2%, and I kind of call it managed growth. In the e-commerce world, you can actually manage your growth because you can choose how much you want to spend every single day on Facebook and Google and other channels. So we had to make sure that we manage the growth in line with our inventory levels that we have available for Q1 and Q2 until we replenish that inventory with inventory coming from our new 20-ton facility, which I'm going to update you on in a second. And in order to make sure we landed the plane so we were in line with inventory levels, we actually were able to reduce our marketing spend by 21%, okay, versus fourth quarter. So we did that because there was no reason to kind of waste money. It's, scarce resources. And second quarter will look, I expect, pretty similar to the first quarter. We are now, ladies and gentlemen, we are now producing. Really excited with our Sugat partner. We are now producing. We've done our first grow and harvest of VINIA. And in fact, on Sunday, we will do our second harvest of VINIA. And now we're just starting to scale the number of bioreactors we're growing literally every 21 days. And this will now commence the ability to really start fueling the pipeline. It's about 2 months from the time we actually go through our grow and dry, and then we air freighting the product to the US, and then we convert it into capsules, and then through our third-party distributor. So this means that everything we're producing in April, in May, we will then bottle in June and have ready in July to start to really ramp up the marketing. It'll ramp up, quite quickly from July into August, and you'll see a big step into August, then into September. Okay, and the focus now from Jared, who's our VP of Global E-commerce, is getting everything ready from a technology and all the different programs that we're working on. I'm going to touch on some of them now. When you dimensionalize the performance in the first quarter, what was great to see is our recurring revenue subscription grew by 40%. This is great. This allowed us to actually take our foot off the pedal from an overall investment perspective. And what's importantly, when we look at the quality of that growth, we see that subscriptions of 3 months or more comprises 71% of the mix. You will see myself and the team continuously drive people to 3 months or more, because we know if people are just coming in for 1 month, there are some people that get the VINIA effect after a week or 2 weeks. There are some people that we know it takes 6, 7, 8 weeks. So that's why we always want to push people into the 3-month subscription. And you can see that strategy being executed here. From the third quarter, it was 56% of the mix, and now 3 and more is 71% of the mix. So this is what I call quality composition of the growth. What's important as well and critical, because performance is all about social proof, and our social proof in the US is growing. When we did our first shareholder update after the launch, we had 29 reviews. Today, I didn't check, but I think we're at about 570 reviews or 568 reviews. I saw a few reviews come in during the day while I was in meetings. We have a verified rating of 4.8 out of 5. I really challenge all of you to actually go and look around the internet, go onto different sites, look at the ratings. You do not see many products, brands with verified ratings of 4.8 out of 5. What's important as well is the composition of the actual reviews that people are giving us. Go to our reviews page on vinia.com and read the reviews, okay? You will see the kind of language that people use. You will see how VINIA is becoming an integral part of their daily habit and their daily lifestyle, as it fundamentally improves their overall health and wellness and functioning during the day, which is exactly what we want. And it's super exciting that we have all these amazing ambassadors out there that literally rely on VINIA every single day. For Q2, we are starting to optimize our technology stack to be able to have broader channels in order to reduce our cost of acquisition. And therefore, we're focusing on more efficient sales channels. We're partnering with AI Advertising, great company that's helped us a lot get VINIA into the Google infrastructure with Google Shopping. And we're also going to be supplementing that with a custom ambassador program, so that literally the 3,000 subscribers that we have can go and literally recommend VINIA to their friends and their families and start to actually get benefits from this via a point system that will actually allow them to have unique discounts and offers on VINIA. The move and the partnership with AI advertising that takes us into Google Shopping is a game changer, because it takes people based on search. They will see VINIA and they can click on it and they go straight to the checkout, which pulls them through the funnel very quickly. And we expect this to really help us as we start to ramp up in the third quarter. Working with our partner that we've been with for the last 12 months, amazing partner, Commerce Garage, we're continuously trying to leverage disruptive ways of driving connectivity and penetration over the internet. And we have now a battery of probably 20 plus reviews from those 560 over the video, and Commerce Garage have done an amazing job with Yves, the creative director there, packaging this so that we're constantly in front of people on the internet with reviews, telling their real life experiences about VINIA. And this is a great way for us to drive conversion. And in addition, we are also going to be starting to execute affiliate programs, which we've had a number of people over the last 12 months come in and say, hey, I'm a nutritionist, or hey, I'm an integrative doctor. We want to start to help you bring the power of VINIA to our customer base. So now we've built the technology to be able to do this, where orders can come through, we can pay the right commission structures. So these are all the ways that we're going to be utilizing to drive the footprint of VINIA as we move into the third quarter. And importantly as well, in the second half, we will also start to target a very significant part of the US population, which is an 80 million evangelical base. The evangelical base, obviously, in addition to all the health benefits that VINIA is delivering on a daily basis, we have an opportunity to really connect with the evangelical base, given the relevance of VINIA, red grapes, as it relates to the New Testament, and the fact that in the New Testament there's many contexts across different parts of the New Testament. You can see in chapter 1 Timothy, verse 5:23, we see that Paul says to Timothy, take a little wine for your health's sake. Well, in today's world, it's take a little VINIA for your health's sake. So in addition to the spiritual relevance, VINIA is also from the land of Zion, and there's a close affinity of this target group with the land of Zion, and then we have the health benefits. So we're actually looking at doing some test and learn on TV partnerships with one of the key players in this area. And we believe this is really going to allow us to bring VINIA to a much broader base. And it's all about test and learn, and seeing how we can optimize. And we think this is going to be one of the tools in our toolbox, which is going to drive significant revenue as we go into the second half. Okay, how am I doing so far, everybody? Give me a temperature check. All right, that's good. We lost Justin. Hopefully he'll come back. Oh, he's back. Good. Okay, great. Okay. Wow. Now I've got something to share with you. Some pretty exciting stuff. Okay. Look, as we look at VINIA and the fact that we now have today close to 12,000 people that have actually come into the brand over the last 12 months, we understand that our dietary supplement business, our core capsule dietary supplement business, is always going to be our main driver. However, what we understand as we get closer to the market, and because we have the direct relationship with the consumer, we realize that the gummy market is just exploding. And many brands are moving from, let's call it traditional dietary supplement to gummies. So we've now have a plan in place over the next 12 months, and we're starting to work on all the R&D with some key partners around developing what we're calling a super blood flow gummy. VINIA super blood flow, so really anchoring on the core benefit that we deliver. And then you can see we're talking about the key claim that is the baseline claim that everybody feels when they're getting the benefits of VINIA, which is about improving the physical energy and mental alertness because of the increased blood flow and the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the body, tissue, and organs. So we are looking to launch a VINIA Super Blood Flow gummy into the marketplace. There is one other resveratrol player that's gone into gummies that we've been able to find. However, as we all know, that not all resveratrol are created equal, and we are the only company in the world that produces piceid resveratrol from the skin of the red grape, which, as we know, has very superior solubility, bioavailability, and efficacy. So this is, again, it allows us to move into an area where we can be extremely competitive. We also come in with a premium positioning based on the fact that we're clinically tested, and we're the only clinically tested player in the space. And then we will also look to extend into a VINIA protein energy bar. Now, again, all of this is driven off consumer insights. We have a ton of insights from consumers where they talk, and again, from the reviews page, from discussions with consumers, they talk about, wow, I love VINIA because it helps me work out harder in the gym. I have this boost of energy. I have much more vascularity. All right, that's the word we hear all the time. So when we looked at this, we thought, geez, we need to be getting into the protein energy bar. Let's develop a plant-based protein energy bar in line with the company's positioning. And we will at the same time look to add VINIA 400 milligrams into that protein energy bar. Thank you for the emojis. That's a 4 billion market. The gummies is a 6.5 billion market. The picture of success is in the next 12 months. You'll come to our website and you'll be able to purchase our regular classical capsule dietary supplement or a gummy dietary supplement, or the protein bar will also be a dietary supplement. And that will mean that we'll lower our cost of acquisition, increase our transaction size, and ultimately improve the economics of the business. And then obviously next year we'll be overlaying our olive cell product, and we'll be pretty much executing a similar play on olive cells and then pomegranate in 2024. So really exciting news. I wanted to kind of just share at a high level, and over the next 6 months, we'll start communicating which of these we're prioritizing based on the R&D outcomes, stability testing. But the plan is to try and get one of these into the market before the end of the year, and then the second one in the first quarter. I'm glad to see the positive feedback from everybody. Thank you. All right, Vittori update. Nicole and Vince and the team have been doing a great job. I thought that what I would do for all of you is, obviously I cannot put the companies that we're talking to for obviously confidentiality reasons. But I wanted to at least give you a snapshot. And the way we look at our funnel, we have pre-development discussions, then you have formulation development, and then customer partners. Let's first start on the pre-development discussions. We have like 9 companies now in pre-development discussions. These are companies, we're educating them about VINIA. We're brainstorming on ideas on how they can utilize VINIA in their portfolio. And you can see the types of companies. I'll try to give you the types of companies we're talking to. So you can see we're talking to national companies. We're talking to leaders in their segments. These are the right peers that we need to be associated with. We have today 6 companies that we're in formulation development with. And as you know, there's a lot of work to be done when you're putting it into food, stability. There's negotiations around pricing. And then obviously we have our one customer partner, Design for Health, who's been an amazing partner. And we have 3 SKUs that we've already launched. And we will have, we believe, in the next 6 months, another 3 SKUs coming on stream. And as we expand our supply, this partner is going to become an empirical partner for us. Now, the reason why I love Designs for Health is, number one, we share common values, all focusing our energy every day on fundamentally improving our consumers' health and wellness. But what I love about them is they go direct to doctors. That's their core business. So they're actually helping us educate doctors about the power of VINIA. And when they go to doctors, they go to them with very clear knowledge sheets around the product, how the product works. And this is helping us really communicate the benefits of VINIA to the specifically integrative doctors, but also, those doctors that are, basically crossing both spectrums from traditional all the way into integrative. So watch out for this area. Again, we'll continue to update. but we're exciting, and you'll see a little bit later. You know, we're working hard to get, you know, obviously continue the momentum with Designs for Health, and then get one more of these to start to pop. Okay,
Ilan,
yeah.
Can we just cover one question now? People are asking about access to our products. Designs for Health doesn't have, they provide directly to doctors. People cannot sample those products, can they?
The majority of Design for Health products are sold direct to doctors and nutritionists, and you have to have a provider number for it. Actually, when you go in, you have to have a provider number. However, they've started to open it up to Amazon. Okay? So what I will do, Justin, as a follow-up, in the next update, in the next email communication, we can share with our shareholder partners the 3 products that we're in today, okay? And then we will double check with Dr. David Brady and his team if they're on Amazon. If they're on Amazon, they can buy those products, and they're really good products. VINIA is a core ingredient in each of those 3 products, okay? Great. All right, let's talk Israel. Israel did great. We grew 21%. You know, it actually was a really solid result from the team, and a very, very challenging situation with COVID. I don't think people realize, but Israel just got whacked with COVID. I was one of them in January and February. In fact, my entire whole family and most of our neighborhood. And so we were dealing with a couple of things. Obviously, when you compare fourth quarter last year to first quarter this year, we had less selling days, 2 less selling days. And then you had literally 25% of the country had COVID in January. And I believe at least maybe 15 to 20% had COVID in February. What's good news, so that hit us hard in January and February. What's good news is that March has come back super strong. And April so far is looking nothing short of stellar. So we kind of feel like that's behind us, and we will, you know, be able to pick up the pace in the second quarter. All right. The key focus for us in Israel is really democratizing the brand. And, you know, when it comes to health and wellness, I believe that everybody should have access to health and wellness. And that's also one of the things we think about as it relates to our pricing strategy, all the way through to our distribution strategy. And I'm very proud of the team. We're going to be one of the few brands in Israel that will be bringing Arab language to our website. We have an amazing partner, Zahir Balul, who actually is a very, very famous reporter in Israel. He's also a member of the Israeli government, and he's been on VINIA for the last year. And he's partnering with us in the same way that Motele Spiegler partners with us. And in fact, both of them are very close friends. And so we're really making sure that we're able to bring the power of the brand across all communities within the Israeli population, including, and you'll see for many of you who may not read Hebrew, on the right-hand side is one of the kosher supervision. And, you know, we had a very good kosher supervision in the past. And what we're doing now is we're adding an incremental supervision, which also allows us to access a part of the population that before would not consume VINIA because we didn't have the required, you know, level of kosher status. So again, this broadens our market and again, democratizes the brand because everybody should have access to the best form of piceid resveratrol out there in the market. Okay, I'm going to spend now, well, 25 too. Okay, I will try catch up a little bit here. How are we doing so far? Everybody happy? Feeling good? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I want to share with you a little bit around how our vision and strategy is evolving. And when I say evolving, you know, the vision should stay very, very constant, but your strategy should be refined as you learn more and more about the marketplace. So I'm going to very quickly just help you understand what our vision is for the company and collectively partnering with you as our shareholder partners. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of the evolution of where the strategy is going, demonstrating to you the power of this platform technology and how this platform technology can enable us to play in so many different areas from a total addressable market, but also in different categories that we're focusing on. So let me get into it. really, at the end of the day, we're all here to build a multi-billion-dollar biotech health and wellness company. This is the vision. This is the aspiration. We are building a biotech company that has this amazing platform technology that you're all aware of that brings the power of the plant to the people. We are, and we continue to solidify ourselves as the global leaders in plant cell biology. What we've done with red grape cells, and then to olive, and then to pomegranate, and then breaking biological barriers in cannabis is, really, we are unlocking secrets of cellular plant biology like no other company has done before. And that's been heavily incorporated into our IP as it relates to patents and specifically the know-how that we have from this amazing R&D and manufacturing team that we have. We are going to be operating in multiple verticals with bringing next-generation science-based therapeutic solutions to the market. Today, we're in polyphenol antioxidants. Literally tomorrow, very soon, we're going to be hitting the market with cannabis. And then we've talked about the third vertical, and I'll touch on this a little bit later. And we're going to be playing, and this is where it starts to get interesting, across dietary supplements and foods. But we can, given the power of our platform technology, also play in botanical FDA-approved drugs, which is a game changer for our business. And I want to help you understand this. What's important to understand as you look at this is our base business, specifically as it relates to whether it's in the nutraceutical or in the cannabis space, will always be the dietary supplements or cannabis as we go into the medicinal space or into, let's call it, edging into certain other areas where the market becomes grayer. But we do have the ability, as we learn more from our consumers, that we can take VINIA, products like VINIA, or our cannabis strains into the botanical FDA drug-approved process. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So why? Why do we have permission? Why can we do all of this? What problem are we solving? Well, Mother Nature provides active medicinal compounds in their best composition. But the problem, and that's been perfected through 2,000 years of evolution. But the problem is that Mother Nature provides them inefficiently. And when man gets involved, or people get involved with technology, we've kind of failed to deliver as it relates to bringing the power of the plant to the people. We have challenges with consistency, major challenge with consistency. This is the biggest challenge in the cannabis space. We start to add all these offerings into the soil and onto the plant, which causes heavy metals and a whole bunch of other things. The cost is very high, and honestly, hand over heart, we're not leaving the world in a better place for our children and our grandchildren. What BioHarvest Sciences does is that we, through our bioplant solicitation technology, we have the only industrial scale platform in the world that can bring patentable plant-based therapeutic solutions to the market, which maintain the original natural compound structure, are full spectrum, so we're leveraging the power of all the cannabinoids, all the polyphenols. And importantly, it's important to recognize that we can do this in a consistent and repeatable way, which is so, so important as it relates to generating the required patient outcomes. And we do all of this, as we know, without growing the plant. We just take the plant once. And this allows us to deliver fingerprint consistency, aseptic cleanliness. We have unique composition. From a sustainability perspective, we're best in class. And from a cost perspective, we have an amazing ability to deliver what we do with capital efficiency that is way greater than the industry experiences today, and at manufacturing cost, which is significantly lower. We've already delivered on this promise across multiple platforms. We've done it on red grape, where we increased the parseed resveratrol 100 times, together with the matrix of other polyphenols. We've done it on olives, where today we increased the verboscoside glycoside by 5 times versus in a regular olive leaf. And with more manufacturing and fine-tuning, we'll increase this. We've done it with pomegranate, where we increased the PGG polyphenol by 10 times versus a pomegranate. And again, as we start to get and scale these businesses, we'll get sharper and sharper. Because when we started with VINIA, we were not at 100 times. We went from 20 to 40 to 60, and then we moved up to 100. And then in cannabis, we're producing full spectrum cannabis. And you'll see a little bit later, I'm going to share with you some new news about the overall composition of our cannabis, at least as much as I can share at this stage. But what's important is when you go into the drug world, and specifically the botanical drug world, the biggest challenge is around repeatability, consistency. And the drug companies, the pharma companies, they moved to basically singular isolates, clearly coming from the lab, not moving away from the plant, because they wanted to have repeatability and they wanted to have patentability. Now today, we can change the game here, because we can enable pharma companies or ourselves to go back to the plant, leverage the best phytochemical ingredients versus synthesized ingredients from a lab, because we have repeatability, because of our unique composition, where we increase, in the case of VINIA, 100 times the resveratrol, and also what we're doing now in cannabis, we can actually derive patentability. We address purity and safety because we grow in aseptic bioreactors. We obviously have high efficacy because of the solubility and the bioavailability, and we've got that clinical evidence now with VINIA, with such a large user base, and we can move quickly at low cost. So this is important to understand as we start to think about where this company can go as we move up to higher order opportunities of leveraging the power of our brands into the botanical drug space very selectively, very cautiously, and very selectively. So let me help you understand this. We have acquired significant knowledge from our 11,000 plus customers. These are some reviews. You can have a quick read of these reviews. Again, go and have a look at vinia.com, but you can see in these reviews, one person talks about a condition known as Raynaud's. This is a condition that affects 5% of American consumers. It is from a lack of blood flow to the fingers and to the toes. The other person here talks about benefits around energy and alertness, specifically mental alertness. And the person on the right-hand side talks a little bit around some of the other benefits, which are more broader benefits that one experiences physically from increased blood flow. But what it basically comes down to is, from the 12,000 customers we have today, as we finish the month of March, roughly 12,000 customers that we have purchased VINIA in the last 14, 15 months since we've been selling, we know that these are specific diseases which are all underpinned by blood flow. Blood flow is so important to our body's operating system. And we know that blood flow has a significant effect in a number of these areas. And we've seen that VINIA has been able to address a number of people's challenges in, for example, erectile dysfunction, gingivitis, which is around inflammation of the gums, metabolic syndrome. We have a clinical, already on type 2 diabetes, where we showed that VINIA reduced hemoglobin A1C significantly and increased insulin sensitivity. ADHD and ADD, this is from a lack of blood flow to the cerebral part of the brain. This one is quite close to me. I have one of my kids who has ADHD, and you look at the drugs today and what they offer. It's very, very challenging as a parent. And wouldn't it be great if we could provide a solution, as an example, in this space? I talked about Raynaud's disease. And then we also have, Meniere's disease, which is an actual orphan drug, about 2% of the population. And this is from a lack of blood flow in the inner ear. And we literally have solved some people's lives, because this is a horrible disease. You have full-time vertigo. You have tinnitus. And we had one customer from Dallas, an amazing young man, super inspirational. and I hope he's on the call. I'm not going to use his name, but I hope he's on the call. He was suffering from severe Meniere's disease. He was on the beat and basically moved from on the beat to a desk job, still struggled because of the vertigo, and literally landed up leaving the police force. And his life started to untangle because he lost control of his life. He saw a VINIA advertisement on Instagram. He bought it. After a week, he heard pop and felt a change in the blood flow in his inner ear, because VINIA gets below the blood-brain barrier. So this is super inspiring for us. And there is a significant opportunity for us in this space to really elevate the brand. You know, these are some feedback from people around the impact as far as sexual performance. You guys can go onto the internet. You'll see that VINIA is referred to as the purple pill. This is just, you know, there have been clinical trials today demonstrating the impact that resveratrol has on improving periodontal disease due to its ability to modulate the oxidative stress and inflammatory profile of the gums. So this is an area that we're super interested in. If you look at all the toothpaste companies, they are utilizing other ingredients to help gum health, and we believe that VINIA could be a much better, unique, functional ingredient, and gives the oral care space, opens up towards us. So we're going to be doing some additional investigation work here, and we're actually already doing some work with one of the major universities in Canada as we start to go down this path. And then I want to talk about Reinhardt Syndrome. You know, today Reinhardt Syndrome, they are prescribed a drug. It's Adalat. You can research it. There are many, many side effects, and we've seen it's been amazing because this was our first winter in the US. We started, remember, in the middle of May, so we went straight into summer. And what started happening is a lot of the reviews we were getting in October, November, December, January, as it got cold in the US, was around Raynaud's disease. Again, 5% of the US, it's a significant population. It's 18 million people, 80% female, and this is an amazing solution for them, we believe, obviously without the side effects. So what does this mean from strategy? And let me walk you through this chart. We are a platform technology company. I want to make very clear to my shareholder partners, this is our base business. When we look at our P&L, this is our base business. When we look at driving a high gross profit margin business with highly respectable EBITDA over the next 3 to 4 years, and we look at turning profitable next year, which we've shared, and being positive from a cash operating profit perspective, it's base business. Base business. Okay? I don't want you to walk away thinking that the company's now going down the botanical drug route. No. We are focused on the base business and building this monster base business as it relates to VINIA and as it relates to cannabis. Okay? However, we are sitting with gold in our hands. And if we know that VINIA is able to address a number of these areas from the data points that we have, now they are still not 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 kind of clinical trials that you need to do as you go through the FDA botanical drug process. But we have enough data points to feel that we may have something very, very special here. So in fact, we're in the final stages of hiring a special, superb individual to come on board and partner with me and the rest of the leadership team as Chief Medical Officer of the company. And I know he's out here listening, and we're super excited to hopefully bring him on board over the next few weeks. But this person that we're hiring, we are basically going to have focused on prioritizing each of these specific areas. We're not going to do everything. We'll pick one, maybe two, and start to do additional work. Now, what's amazing is because we've got already today 12,000 customers on VINIA, we're probably going to be able to skip phase 1 trials because we already have the safety data and a level of awareness and interaction with the product, and we can move to phase 2. We can do phase 2 and phase 3 ourselves because the costs are not crazy. And then at some point, you make a decision of partnering with a pharma partner to take it all the way through. And this is a big opportunity that I feel like, given the power of our platform technology, given the perils of so many challenging diseases out there that our products could be affecting, we should be applying some resource to focus on taking our products and looking to assess through the right clinical trial process if we can land one of these. Because once you do this, your product gets democratized to all segments of the population. HMOs will cover it from an overall payment perspective as well. So that's the strategy. But I want you to understand, as the great McDonald's ad said, don't take your eyes off your fries. This is our focus. This is a huge focus for us as far as building the baseline of the business, and then we'll move into this area, okay, on a selective basis. Okay, cannabis. Justin, do I have most people, because I know I'm going long. We started 10 minutes late. I'm sure you're pinging me now. I can't see how many people. Should I go crazy and speed it up, or do you want me?
Please cover. We've got 100 questions on cannabis, so please go into detail on cannabis.
So let me go another 10 minutes, and then we'll go 15 minutes on the end like we normally do, okay? You know, with me, past performance predicts future performance, okay? All right, so cannabis scale-up. Wow. We are now producing cannabis in industrial scale bioreactors. It's mind-blowing. In an industrial scale bioreactor, I'll stand up here, you know, pretty much I'm 6'2", think 7.5 feet, think this wide, this depth. We're able to produce every 21, 22 days, you know, roughly, we believe, you know, as we start to scale, about 10 kilos of cannabis each cycle. Average grow period for traditional agriculture with cannabis indoor is 10 weeks. We're in perpetual flowering. We've done it. This team is just remarkable. And I can't tell you, you know, when you see grown adults, mature adults with a ton of experience, literally in tears, when they're able to kind of get to this level with a high quality product, it really humbles you. And it's super exciting what we're going to be doing in this space. And now it's all about, we've already applied to the Israeli Ministry of Health for our production license. And we're now going through that process. We have plans already on the conversion that's going to take place in our 2-ton facility. Exactly, the different modifications that we need to make for security reasons and some other reasons. And we're now working through and partnering with the Ministry of Health, who understand our technology very well because they understand VINIA very well. But going through the process now for cannabis. Okay.
Ilan,
yeah,
can we kill 20 questions with one answer right now?
Yeah.
So up until now, we've been producing cannabis on a research and development license, correct? So we cannot grow our cannabis for commercial purposes until the Israeli Ministry of Health says, okay, you can start growing. And that's where we're right now.
Correct. We have to get a production license. We've already submitted all the paperwork for the production license, and we've started the discussion process.
Yeah, perfect.
We're not a new known entity for the Ministry of Health. We have an amazing partnership with them. We've always been best in class on VINIA with our audits, with our ISO certifications, with GMP. So we have high credibility, and now we go through the process that all companies like ourselves have to go through as they move from R&D into production licenses. So, you know, is it 2 months? Is it 4 months? Is it 6 months? I don't know, but you know, we have credibility, we have relationships, and we're gonna work through this, obviously, you know, through their required process. And you know, I think we'll come out in a good place and ready to supply the Israeli market. So I'm going to kill another 10 of your questions right now, talking about what I can say about composition of our product. Okay, so you know, obviously, I would love to tell you a lot more about the product composition than what I can say today. But what I've shown on the screen here, I can say, is that, you know, because of our bioplant solicitation process, like we do with VINIA, we increase certain levels of the piceid resveratrol. Same thing with the verboscoside in olives. So what we've been able to do, you know, through utilizing the existing genetics that we started with, is that we have a unique ratio. I can't share percentages right now, but the core cannabinoids of THC, CBD, and CBG, we have a unique ratio that's not found in the plant, okay, which is very cool. Which means that we believe that this product with the other minor cannabinoids that I can't talk more about because we're still doing more investigative work in this area, because as you know, there's 140 minor cannabinoids and we want to make sure we're picking up everything. We believe that this unique ratio will fit very well for certain indications in the medical space and helping people operate through their day. We also, you know, when we started the process, people said it's impossible to grow terpenes underwater. Well, they were wrong. We do have terpenes. We have very good terpenes, and we'll be sharing more of this over the next few months as we finalize our certificate of analysis. But I just felt that for our shareholder partners who've been super patient, I wanted to at least share a little bit. Obviously, you know, we've, from a patent perspective, the IP piece is super, super important. So we've already done a lot of work on the IP side, and it's an iterative work. As we find out more, we're modifying our patents. Find out more, we modify our patents. And because we have such a unique product, you know, we're applying best-in-class technologies out there to help us with the different measurement systems to make sure that we capture everything that we have. Okay, great. And the next questions, which I have a few already, is like, well, what's going on? You know, who are you talking to? Look, I will be very. Justin, you want to ask a question? No, okay. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I'm just smiling at the questions coming in.
Okay, I can't see them. Maybe I gotta figure it out. Okay, so we are right now actively talking to a number of potential cannabis partners. I am spending a lot of time on this. Really, it's my number one focus. And I'm learning a ton. I'm learning a ton, understanding each time how disruptive our technology is, and really the crisis that exists in the cannabis industry today, given the challenges. You know, for example, you know, indoor costs are super high. You take the energy crisis, it's going to drive indoor costs even higher in a market today that people are struggling to differentiate. How do they differentiate their product? You know, sustainability is becoming such a pain point right now. You know, no major institutional investor is going to invest in a public company that doesn't have real hardcore sustainability credentials. And, you know, there was a recent article in the Sustainability Journal, which demonstrated that it takes, for an average indoor grow, it utilizes 3,600 kilos of CO2 emissions to make 1 kilo of cannabis. And tomatoes, to make 1 kilo of tomatoes, it's 2 kilos of CO2 emissions. We're in the tomato space based on our technology. So I'm realizing as I talk to these players, you know, the benefits that we bring to the table. And now it's about finding the fit, you know, between common values, common mission, commercial principles that make sense. And, you know, I think that this process is, you know, is going to continue. Obviously, there's different geographies. You've got discussions around Israel, and we're in active discussions in Israel. Obviously, I'm here and it's easy access. We're also having active discussions in markets like, as we've discussed, Canada and North America and USA. And also understand that discussions in Israel also have implications for markets in Europe, because Israel feeds some big markets in Europe, like, you know, say Germany, UK, etc. So I can't really say much more around this. All I can say is we're spending the time, and it's not just cannabis companies where, you know, ideally have a strong medicinal bias, because that's where we have a better connection point. But it's also pharma companies. In the context of the discussions we've had, we've seen, you know, pharma companies now start to look seriously at cannabis. Pharma companies understanding that synthesized compounds cannot solve everything, and the need to go back to the plant, and the need that, and the fact that cannabis is currently being utilized by so many consumers across the US, together with, as a replacement, or at least together with prescription drugs for ADHD, for nausea, for opioid addiction, fibromyalgia, ALS, and the list goes on and on and on. So that's the update on cannabis. Okay. I'm now going to go through the 2022 priorities and big bets. How's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling good? You still with Justin? Do I still have people with me, or are they going home?
We're doing great. But okay. Yeah, we are closing in on an hour. All
right. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through the 8 priorities, and I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to tell you, and I thought about this a lot, whether I actually go and put my head on the chopping block, you know, with my shareholder partners around what the big bets are in each of the area and really what we have to deliver. And I've always, you know, tried to be as transparent and open as possible. And I've decided that you as shareholder partners need to understand not just the priorities, but understand the big bets and roughly the timing that we want to land these big bets. Now, I want to say that this is fluid. It can change. The priorities will not change, okay? But the landing of big bets will sometimes change based on resources and other factors. These big bets are all given to my leadership team and myself as KPIs. We are all bonused based on delivering those KPIs. So this is just how we bring performance management culture into the organization. And so I wanted to share that with you so you understood roughly, number one, you understood clearly what the priorities were. They're not going to change. And then you understood what are the big bets. What's Ilan and the team working on around first half and second half in each of these areas. Okay, clear? Great. All right. Cannabis. We need to launch a unique cannabis composition with IP protection into the market, with the conversion of our 2-ton Israeli facility from VINIA to cannabis, and drive the required actions of partnership to commence scaling our business and products in North America in 2023. We've got to lay that foundation. What does that mean? 1, we will announce final unique composition and technology capability in half 1. 2, we are commencing right now R&D on new improved genetics. We want more. Now we know more about our algorithm. We're now hitting the ground, getting new genetics in as we start to build the streams. 3, we talked about production license in Israel for the 2-ton facility, commencement of Israeli manufacturing, land a partnership in Israel for the second half, land a major North America partnership with industry leader pharma, and then start to lay the foundation with that partner for capital investment for North America manufacturing so we can get a quick start in 2023. Okay, clear? Everyone feeling good? Good. All right. VINIA. We need to drive aggressive scaling of VINIA in USA via our DTC customer acquisition and closing of large-scale B2B partnership deals in pipeline with Pretori. What does that mean? Continuous manufacturing from our 20-ton facility. We've started. We're moving. I talked a bit about the evangelical partnership. Full implementation of new drying equipment. We're in the final stages of validation and moving to procurement of a wonderful piece of equipment, which we scoured the world. German technology, French technology, Italian technology, Spanish technology, Chinese technology, Indian technology. We landed on this amazing German company. It's a private company, a family that produces 6 to 7 machines a year for the world. You know, I would say the premium nutraceutical/pharma companies. And we've now spent about 3 months working with them and ourselves. And through a very unique process, we have finished the validation and we're about to bring on board this equipment, which basically allows us to significantly increase our yields. And importantly, it's a massive reduction in energy usage based on our commitment from a sustainability perspective. And in addition, it improves actually the polyphenol content as well. So it's a game changer for us, and we need to close this so that basically we're looking to hire a machine in the short term, and then it will take 12 months to build the monster machine. But we have a good interim plan with a hired machine in the interim. And kudos to Kobe and Yoav and Orihan and the team who've done amazing work in this area. Number 4, I want to launch one of those new products ideally by the end of the year. It would be great to launch Christmas with the protein bar or gummy. And then, as I said, expanding our current B2B partnerships with Vittori. Okay, clinical trials. We want to commence new clinical trials across VINIA, olive cell, and cannabis to further differentiate our therapeutic solutions versus current market solutions and to demonstrate the power of our platform technology. Big bets. Commence clinical trial 1, additional claim as a dietary supplement. If you look through it, it's pretty clear where we could go, and that's some work we'll be working through and finalizing with our Chief Medical Officer. 2, commence clinical trial path on 1 priority for VINIA for botanical drug program. That'll be the second half. Commence our olive cell clinical trials, second half of this year. And then we want to ideally get some cannabis clinical trials going with our partners. Regulation and geographic expansion. Polyphenol antioxidants, in addition to EU-UK regulation process, and again, I just want to be very transparent. The EU right now is a mess. They have a new system in place, a new computer system in place, new processes in place. What used to take 12 months is now taking 24 to 36 months. We're continuing to push away at the EU, but it's going to take longer than what we thought. However, what we've decided to do is double down on Canada, and we're looking to get Canada. I want to be, and I've given the team a challenge to be in Canada in the first quarter of next year. We're already starting to have partnership discussions with key partners in Canada that can allow us to basically complement our e-commerce strategy with a strong on-the-ground retail presence. More to come in that space. We're also pushing the button on China. China, and I just want to share with you that polyginum, which is the other source of resveratrol from Japanese knotweed, is actually not allowed in China as a natural food or as a dietary supplement. So the whole resveratrol market is open to us because really they only allow resveratrol from sources like us, and we're the only company in the world that can produce partial resveratrol from the skin of the red grape. We have a great partner, local partner, who will be introduced later, joining us on a consulting basis to help us with the Chinese market, as well as the Japanese market. And we want to move quickly to get regulated in those markets so we can bring the power of our brand to literally another at least 100, 200 million people that can afford a product like VINIA, and ideally look at ways to make it more affordable to the broader population. And then on cannabis, we want to look at really completing our registration in Israel and in the key markets from a North America perspective. So here you go. I've talked through those. Organizational expansion. We're going to implement organizational expansion changes and hiring of key personnel to best support the significant scaling of the business from a vertical focus, manufacturing footprint, and therapeutic clinical trials perspective. So we are creating a CTO office. Dr. Yochi Chagai will create a CTO office where she will have the resources to focus more on new verticals, on patent and IP management, because it's becoming more and more important for us, specifically as with the scale of work we're doing in cannabis and beyond. And she will also be taking the lead on the work we're doing with Chris Hadfield and Space Tango as we look at the work we're doing from a space race perspective to land our first experiment on the International Space Station in the next 18 to 24 months. We are going to aggressively grow our R&D resources to be able to optimize the platform technology output. As I said before, we're in the final stages of bringing on board a chief medical officer, and we will have a team underneath this person to support him as we continue to grow in this area. And we will look to hire a VP of HR as we look now, with a team of 45. I've been the HR manager, HR director, and I need to hand it over to somebody to look at this from a full-time perspective as the company grows, because we're starting to have an international footprint. ESG, continue to demonstrate best-in-class thought leadership in ESG parameters with driving further improvements via our manufacturing processes for VINIA. Exactly what I shared with you on the new drying. Super excited about it. We already have an amazing ESG record on VINIA. Now we add the drying into it. It's game changing and really demonstrates how we make decisions through a commercial lens, through a consumer lens, and through the lens of are we doing the right thing based on our commitment to the planet. And this year in our ESG report, we will showcase the major sustainability advantage we have in cannabis. And this is going to be a real eye-opener for the industry based on the headwinds that the industry is facing. Okay, new vertical. We will finalize the new vertical consistent with our strategy to focus on delivering a balance between shareholder return and driving human utility value, which you all know what that means, leveraging our platform technology, and we will commence R&D work on this in the second half of 2022. We will look to announce the new vertical in early second half. We've delayed this just because there's been so much focus on cannabis, and I really need to keep the team focused. And once we get the 2-ton facility, in a more organized way on cannabis, then we can start to take oxygen and move it into that third vertical. But we pretty much know where we're going to land. And then obviously by the end of the year, we want to finalize the specific plant and metabolites that we're going to be growing in our cells. And last but not least, we need to do what it takes as a management team to improve liquidity of our stock. And this is all about generating greater exposure of BioHarvest to both retail and, importantly, institutional investor base, so we can improve daily liquidity. This is something that we're obviously very, very focused on. So we are in the process of uplisting to the OTCQB. It's in progress. It's happening, and hopefully in the near term we'll be making an announcement once this is finalized. We're working really hard in attracting major institutional investors, and it's starting to come as our footprint grows, as our media footprint grows, and as people start to talk about the power of our platform technology across the industry. We're also working hard. I've been in discussions in the last couple of weeks with a number of analysts specifically in the cannabis space, and I talked to an analyst on Monday night. I said to him, listen, how can you cover cannabis if you don't cover not covering the most disruptive company in the cannabis space? And he looked at me and said, what are you talking about? And then I shared our story. So that's now on me to try and make sure that we are getting as much presence in analyst coverage in the cannabis space, but importantly, in biotech space. This is really important as we look at our platform technology and people understand the gravity of our platform technology as we bring the power of plant metabolites to the people. And then, look, we are always reviewing opportunities as needed to move to a more senior exchange. Financing. Okay, I'm landing this, Justin. All right. So you saw the announcement today. When you look at this company and you look at the capabilities that we collectively have built, and I say we because I want to say that the feedback and input that Justin, myself, and the leadership team get from our shareholder partners is very helpful. And those of you out there, you know who you are, who write to me on a regular basis. Okay, you are doing a great job. We don't have eyes and ears everywhere. Some of you people have great insights, great instinct, and keep the information coming. Keep the deep knowledge and insights coming. Collectively, we've built an amazing company in the last 18 months since we listed. Pretty much 2 years since we listed. We've built fundamental capabilities that no other company has. And we have a platform technology that's going to change the world. So when we look at the valuation of the company, given the current geopolitical macro environment, I don't feel comfortable diluting the company at the current share price, because I don't believe the current share price reflects the future value of the company based on the unique, transformational, and disruptive capabilities that we have. So that's why we've gone with the convertible loan instrument. It also gives a lot of upside to our investor partners, existing investor partners, and new investor partners that will come on board. We will, at this stage, we will raise up to 5 million. If we need to raise, if we have the ability to raise more, we may go over that. But right now, given the nature of the market, we're pegging ourselves at the 5 million mark. As many of you have seen in the release, it's a term of 24 months. There's a 6% interest per annum, From a conversion time, the conversion is at the option. We've tried to make it as flexible as possible. At the option of the investor following the first anniversary, there's a significant conversion discount for coming along the journey with us. 25% if the price per share is 50 cents or less. This is Canadian, obviously. And 20% if the price is above 50 cents. There is a floor price because legally we have to do that based on the CSE of 26 cents. And there is a ceiling price, which is if you believe in the capabilities of this company the way I do and where we could take this company in the next 12 months, if the share price, for example, is at $1, you have a ceiling price of 65 cents, which is obviously much greater than the 25% discount. And this is what the ceiling price will be 90 days after the first anniversary. It will increase in increments of 10 cents every quarter until the end term of the loan. Now, from a company redemption option, the company does have the option to redeem the note before the first anniversary if either a listing on a major stock exchange happens or there's a completion of a financing above 10 million that comes into the company. If this occurs, this is important, the investor has the option to convert if they want. Okay. Justin, I'm done. Thank you for everybody for riding the journey with me. I hope everybody stayed, and I'll stop now for Q&A, and I'll go, Justin, for as long as you want me to go.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. You can still submit questions. I'll try to condense them. A lot of questions, Ilan. Great job. A lot of questions about facilities. I don't know if they were all answered during the program. Could you quickly just give us a status? First one for PM. The 20-ton facility is now in operation, but not at 100% capacity. How confident are you that it will be stable enough and scalable to support both B2B and marketing plans this year?
Yeah, look, I'm very confident. The hard yards we've done, getting a facility to be to moving it, once you finish, you get your GMP, you get your ISO, you then have to get the facility basically aseptic. And this is a big facility. This is a facility that has, space for 240 bioreactors. Okay. So, we're gradually scaling up. We also obviously have crews. The crews have to learn how to be able to deal with the scale. We've successfully done our first full grow. As I said, Sunday, we do a harvest in our second grow. And then step by step, we will continue to scale up. When I look at what the demand is based on the P&L, okay, and I look at what we need to deliver, need to deliver and manufacture from a supply perspective to deliver the revenue, to hit the guidance, I feel very, very comfortable that we're going to be able to do it. Now, it's not easy. There's a lot of work. There might be a couple of challenges along the way, but this you deal with all the time in biotech, and it's part of the biotech process, given the nature of the uniqueness of the manufacturing that you're dealing with. But, I feel like with the capacity that we have, with what we need to deliver in tonnage to deliver the revenue, I think we'll be good. The key thing is just making sure that we can sync all the timing with the marketing programs. And that's what we're doing right now, to sync all the pieces together. So feel pretty good.
Hey, Ilan, maybe just adjust your camera up so that your face is more in front.
I've got to come down. I'm actually.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, good. So the second one, so the 2-ton facility that's been converted for cannabis, you're waiting for authorization from the Israeli government to produce commercially. In the meantime, are you going to be able to hit the ground running with that? Is there work being done at the 2-ton, or what's the status there?
So the plan is right now we're producing in the 20-ton facility, and we're doing our final grows in the 2-ton. The intention is at the end of April, our entire crew, plus we've actually hired a really amazing, dynamic plant manager from a pharma background, will transfer to the 20-ton facility, right? And then this gives us the time to start the construction work. There is some construction work that we need to do in order to meet the guidelines of the Israeli government. That construction work is really related to security, okay? Obviously, with cannabis being a level 1 substance, once we finish drying the cannabis, we have to store it in a safe environment. And so we have to create that safe environment. And that's going to take us a couple of months to do. And that will be done basically concurrently with the approval process.
Excellent. Good. So now moving across the oceans to North America, we had a release earlier this year about exploring Canada. We've spoken about the US in the past. Can you give us a sense for what the North American footprint, what is possible or probable?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. The North American footprint is going to be driven by the partnership model and the prioritization of partners. We can't do everything, you know, and what we do, we need to focus on, we need to do it right. So I can't have a situation where my science, because ultimately, let's assume we do a deal with a partner in Florida. I'm just picking a state. Don't read anything what I said. I'm just using this as an example. We will locate our scientists to Florida. We will recruit local American scientists to train. They will be BioHarvest employees, because ultimately, whatever the partnership model looks like, we will always control the manufacturing. That is our part of our IP. So given that, what's required to operationalize it, it's, you know, skilled people, the capital required, and it's not crazy capital, but we have to spend some capital probably upgrading water systems and a few other things that we need, because we're biotech and we're like at another level as it relates to certain areas. You know, I can't be having a team in 3 or 4 sites at the same time. So it'll be a staggered, staged approach. And that staggered, staged approach and where we start will be prioritized based on the right combination between geography and partner, okay? And that will be phase 1. So if it was a partner that was, again, an example, making this very clear, Justin, just to cover myself, just as an example, if that partner was in Florida, right, then we would start in Florida, we would get it right, get manufacturing up and running, and with that partner, if they were a multi-state operator, they wanted to move to another state, we would go to another state, right? If we decided that the right partner happened to be a Canada LP, then we would start in Canada and then move into North America. So where we go is really being prioritized based on the partnership model, the optimal partnership model to create shareholder value, and is going to help us generate the human utility value. And I see it being a phased program. Let's do it once. Let's get it right. Now, the good news is to do it once and get it right in our world, it's not 3 years. It's like a, you know, probably a 9 to 12 month process from start to finish and really cranking. And then we can move on and conquer the next geographic territory with the same partner, or depending on who the partner is, with another partner. So I think everybody understands clearly. I think I've articulated as much as I can what the logic and sequencing looks like.
Okay, good. And 2 follow-ups that will kill another 20 questions. You are currently having these partnership discussions right now.
Yeah.
And are you open to having, is the door still open for people who want to have partnering discussions?
Yeah. Yeah, but I will just say, and again, I just want to be transparent here. You know, I emailed today from a guy market in a certain market that we're not interested in, promising the world. And, you know, I will politely go and say, thank you very much, it's not a priority, right? As we look at there are certain partners that we've identified, whether they're LPs or multi-state operators or pharma companies, or in some cases also companies which could also be major players in edible space, etc. So we've already got, let's call it our target list. I'm open because sometimes, you know, you have some blind spots, and I'm open for people coming forward and saying, hey, this could be interesting. The door's open, but they need to be partnerships that make sense from a shareholder value and human utility value perspective. That's all.
Okay. And a quick follow-up on facilities. Speaking about Japan and Canada, the expectation there for VINIA is that the global supply will come from the 20-ton facility.
Yes, I believe that the 20-ton facility, based on the business plan, is sufficient for the next, I would say 36 months. Ultimately, Israel is very well located in the world. Okay, we really are in the center of the world. So, right now today we produce in Israel and we air freight our powder to the US, and we have some really good co-packing partners in the US that we partner with. I would see us doing the same thing for Canada. We will make a decision in the next, probably 3-4 months, whether we actually use our US co-packers to ship into Canada, or we go with a local Canadian partner in Canada. And then maybe we start with the US, and as the volume scales, we move with a local Canadian player. Israel can very effectively feed Europe and very effectively also feed China and Japan. So that makes a lot of sense. And again, ultimately we want to, because our IP is so important and manufacturing is an important part of our IP, we've got to make sure that we're focused. And, when you've got a product that sells, if you look at our direct-to-consumer price, it sells for about $3,500 a kilo. When you've got a product that you sell for $3,500 a kilo, right, and all I'm doing is I'm taking the weighted retail price, okay, and doing it into kilos, you can afford to air freight. It's not a big deal. And you air freight in the right conditions, right? So that it makes sense for us from a US perspective. But for markets in Europe, we will bottle probably out of Israel and ship to Europe because it's very close. And we may do the same in China and Japan as well. We'll cross that bridge.
Okay. Just a few more questions. A lot of questions about the components of cannabis and minor cannabinoids. I think so. Right now, the biomass, you said, I think at the end of in the first half, we'll be releasing the C of A, what's inside our existing biomass. How confident are you that BioHarvest is going to be able to produce CBD and THC products? And are you expecting that you are going to have a variety of combinations in the future?
Yeah. So right now, our focus has really been on cannabis. Okay. And there's a reason for that. At the end of the day, I can choose to grow something that sells cannabis that sells at $2,500 a kilo, or I can choose to sell hemp-based CBD, even a premium version, I don't know, $800-900 a kilo. You all are my shareholder partners. You know the answer on what we need to focus on. So we focus right now on cannabis, which we're looking at THC levels and CBD, which are higher than 0.3, and together with CBD and CBG. So this is where our focus is. We are super excited with what the unique ratio we have today, and I'm sorry I can't share more. And we are going to be bringing in 2 or 3 new strains now that we have a lot more data related to the impact of our bioplant solicitation process on the cannabinoid growth process, and basically what actual cannabinoids we're eliciting or cell eliciting as we put through our process the trichomes under stress. We have a clearer understanding of causality. We will be bringing in some unique strains which are maybe more extreme, because we think we're going to be able to produce from those strains, like what we've done now, very unique ratios. And that's really goes back to the whole point around patentability as well. Because and I'll reiterate this, the strain that we have today, we have a very unique ratio of THC, CBD, and CBG. Because as people know, sometimes you either have high THC and no CBG, or high CBG and virtually very little THC. We have something which is more balanced, and we believe will be unique in the marketplace for specific medicinal applications. So our focus now is new genetics that can allow us to continue to bring unique strains to the market. We're not there to be delivering the same strains right? When you understand the power of the full spectrum effect, the value that we can bring to the market with unique strains that are not found in the plant, right? When I say, sorry, unique ratios that are not found in the plant, this is tremendous value. Because for sure, those unique ratios will have a perfect match with certain palliative or health and wellness conditions. And with a market as big as the US, you start to really have a significant scale in each of those areas. And that really allows us also to keep a premium for our proposition versus what's being grown directly from the plant. And it's a premium on the revenue side. Our COGS are much lower. Our capital efficiency is much better. And that just makes for a P&L with leverage that cannabis companies today, very few cannabis companies, if any, have this kind of leverage in the P&L.
Could we do 3 quick questions? We're 90 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
3 quick ones.
How many people? Do we still have people? Or I can't see how many people. How many people are still here?
Yep. Yeah, there's many people online. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
we
you.
had over,
I see.
over 350 people registered today, which is a record so far. The questions about kind of scalability. Is there anything that would cap the ability to supply global cannabis demand years down, 2 or 3 years?
I really don't believe so.
If a market's big enough, you could build a facility there.
Yeah, and then if anything, one of the areas that I talked before about the organizational, the organizational building that we're doing, and making Dr. Yochi Chagai, who's our superb CTO and co-founder of the company, and actually she's the mother of the technology and the reason why we're all here. All of us, not just me, but all of us. I mean, this woman is really an amazing human being. And the key thing is, one of the areas that I want her to focus on is how we actually look at even increasing the amount that our bioreactors can produce. And we have some plans on that. So currently, I've talked about each bioreactor every 21 to 23 days, looking at about 10 kilos, maybe more. We think we could increase it by 20%, 30%, 50%, which basically gives us just much better economics and much more efficiency. So we're really lucky that we have 2 super talented lead scientists in our company, with Dr. Yochi Chagai, CTO, and Dr. Malkit Azahi, who, again, another superb plant cell biologist. And really, she's working day in and day out with her team and driving the breakthrough as far as tricho is concerned. And so what we're doing now is that basically we're giving Dr. Malkit the more support that she needs underneath her to be able to do more. And then also releasing Dr. Yochi to do some of that leading edge stuff, because I need to get Dr. Yochi less involved in the operations and more involved in that thought leadership. With her experience, that's where we as a company will generate the most derived value. So one area she's focusing on, together with our VP of operations, global operations, Kobe Rosenzweig, who again is a new addition to our team, and he's been a great bridge between engineering and the scientists and plant cell biologists. And together, Kobe and Yochi will be looking at how we can actually increase the output from our bioreactors. And this is something that will take us 12, 18 months. But these are the kind of projects that we always have to be doing to continue to improve the overall efficiency of the business. And that will be applicable because it's platform technology. Whatever I do on VINIA to take cost out has implications for cannabis. And whatever I do on cannabis has implications for VINIA. So that's the beauty of a platform technology.
Good. So I'll do one. We have many specific medical questions. I will get you answers to all of them. But speaking of doctors, just one question. Are you looking at diabetes as a potential clinical?
Metabolic syndrome is up there. And, metabolic syndrome is basically what you have pre-diabetes. 50% of Americans are sitting with metabolic syndrome. So we have done a clinical in that space with people with like early type 2 diabetes, kind of borderline metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, where they took, equivalent of 1 gram of VINIA each day, so 2.5 capsules. And we were able to significantly reduce the hemoglobin A1C and increase insulin sensitivity. I think one of the things that we're going to do is, with our chief medical officer coming into the company, this person has vast experience, and part of their role is to help us size up the prize. What's the prize from a impact perspective? What's the prize from a people impact, revenue impact, profit impact, channel strategies, competitive set? Where are competitors playing? Where are they not playing? Where do we have the best chance of success? And we'll, the areas that I shared with you earlier, those are the areas that we will play in, unless there's something new which we find out, which I think after 12,000 customers, these are the consistent areas that come up all the time. So, this will be a decision that I will have our chief medical officer to actually come to the leadership team to make the appropriate recommendation with strong empirical data to support it. And then that's obviously something that, I will decide together with the team. So that's really the process, and that's how the process should work, because it's got to come from real market analysis and really understanding, where to play, how to play, and how do you make sure you win? Because we don't want to go down this route and not win, okay? Also, speed to market with the botanical drug process. There are ways that you can move faster with speed to market. Speed to market's faster if you're, dealing with a topical cream versus something that you're systemic, that you're ingesting. So there's so many different factors, and I'm really hoping that that in the next update, we'll share more about this, and it won't come from me. Ideally, it will come from our chief medical officer.
I'll just finish off. A couple people asking how much of BioHarvest Elon Musk owns currently. But I
think everybody should go. I need everybody on this call and tell all your friends to go and tweet Elon Musk and say, Elon Musk, you need to partner with Ilan Sobel. By the way, we were both born in South Africa, so we have commonality. And tell him to buy BioHarvest shares.
Cool. So just maybe as you take us out, though, just that last question, maybe just quick comments on how the space race, some of our coverage makes sense, with all the commercial things going on. And then, just take us away.
Yeah, look, again, just being very transparent with our shareholder partners. I'm reticent to speak too much about work going on space, because I don't want people to think that it's 50% of our time, right? There is a dedicated team focused on this, and because, it's ring-fenced and it's a small team, under, Dr. Yochi will be taking the lead in this area. It's a important part of a role, but there are other priorities because there's so much more for us to focus on. So, when you hear a lot of exciting things that, from Forbes magazines and all these different articles, because people get so excited about it, because you're on the edge of biology, on the edge of being part of the space race is super exciting. But I want to reassure our shareholder partners that this is, like you could see, it's not a major priority. It fits as part of a priority, okay? It is important to us, but ultimately, the business has to run, and we have to start building a virtuous cycle. We have to get our products out there, get VINIA, scale VINIA, get the cannabis product. But we do have the ability, and companies should have the ability, where you kind of call it like, it's like, I think about it as like 80, 15, 5. 80, basically is the stuff that is going to deliver the bottom line. 15 is the stuff that you can take a little bit of risks, because we're all entrepreneurs. And 5 is the stuff on the edge. So the space race is the stuff on the edge. Why? Because it's worth putting some time, because if we're the global leaders in plant cell biology on Earth, it's behoven on us to be pushing the frontiers the same way we push the frontiers of science with cannabis, by being the only company in the world that can grow trichomes in liquid media. So what's really interesting about the space race, and it goes back to human utility, it's not necessarily that we're going to be the source of food for space colonies in the future, and instead of shipping tuna up there, we're going to have bioreactors that produce protein. We can do that. But what's really, really interesting, like gravity, it comes back to Earth, is the fact that in space, when you have a zero gravity environment, plant metabolites grow differently. And together with our partner Space Tango and Elaine and the team, great team, super capability, and they're connected to NASA and all the other space ecosystems. We're going to be working on a experiment of taking VINIA to space on the International Space Station. Because what happens if we could increase piceid resveratrol by 1,000 times in space?